Hello everybody and welcome to Assembly, which I thought I'd record today in chapel. You might think this is to do with the Christmas trees behind me. It sort of is. I have to be honest, it's also the fact that I've been under the cosh today and there's just a stream of cars outside my study window, so I thought I'd nip into the quiet and stillness of this place to record Assembly. So welcome. First of all, a big shout out to members of the fourth form who are in isolation at the moment. Some of you for the third time, one person for the fourth time, so to him in particular, massive shout out. We're all thinking of you, very much looking forward to having you back in school next week. In the meantime, I hope you're all well. I hope you're sort of cracking on with all the online learning and keeping in touch with people. I have put a little something in the post for you which should arrive in the next couple of days, just a reminder we are thinking of you all. So I'm going to start in terms of announcements with sport and results from the latest inter-house competitions. So, upper sixth cross country, fourth place, The Grove. Third place, Schoolhouse. Second, Linton, and in first place was The Manor. And individual placings, first for the girls was Hope Simpson, congratulations Hope, and first place for the boys at Marco Masucci, so very well done to Marco as well. And lower sixth football, this does seem to be, we've sort of stumbled across the most fantastic competition here, which is the inter-house girls football. So upper sixth had a great time, lower sixth just as good a time. Some pretty fierce sliding tackles going in and some great play. So in fourth place for the girls inter-house football was The Rise. Second place, The Grove. Fourth place, The Rise. Third place at The Grove. Second place was Queens. And in first place was Schoolhouse. I believe on points difference or goal difference. And low sixth, the boys' competition, fourth place was Linton, third was School, second was Hope, and in first place for that one was Clifton, so well done. Now there was a competition to write a haiku for the school Christmas card, and I'm delighted to announce that today. The winning entry was selected because it reflects the current situation that we find ourselves in for Christmas this year. So many congratulations to Anna Coggrave, Temple fourth form, who wrote the following. In unusual times, the Christmas spirit shines through and unites us all. So thank you very much, Anna. Many congratulations. That's going to go in a card, which I'm going to be scribbling several, sort of a dozen and well over 100 or 200 of those over the next couple of weeks. So thank you very much for that and many congratulations. I'm also really delighted today to be able to announce the winners of the Old Peterite Remembrance competition, and this was to design a new memorial to commemorate the 120 Old Peterites who lost their lives in service of the country, and was done in conjunction with the DT department. We had a great judging panel that met earlier this week, including Harry Gratian, Old Peterite and current president of the Old Peterite Club. And in third place, we had third form pupils from Hope. So students Harry Hughes, Josh Petty and Iris Roebuck were very worthy contenders with their poppy-backed cross design engraved with the names of those Old Peterites. So very well done to you. In second place, we had fifth form Schoolhouse, and that was Eliza Allison and Charlotte Denise, who came up with a shield design that features the iconic Tommy silhouette alongside the school motto and the cross keys. But in first place, many congratulations goes to upper sixth in Dronfield House, Hannah Costin and Hope Simpson. They really impressed with their design for 12 silhouettes that will celebrate the diversity of those individuals that we remember at that time. And those 12 pieces of art, when they're made, will be displayed across the campus in the run-up to November the 11th each year. And then they will, alongside our school community, be gathered in the horseshoe for the Remembrance service itself. It really was a very arresting, original and very poignant idea. So many congratulations to Hope and to Hannah in particular. And that design will now be further sort of developed and refined and constructed with them to be unveiled in November of next year. And very well done and thank you to everybody. We had over 20 people who put their, or 20 teams rather, who put submissions forward. So very well done to everybody. Debating. The semi-final of the inter-house debating competition took place on Thursday lunchtime, with the teams debating the motion that this house regrets the rise of social media as a primary source of news media. And the speeches were very thorough and well informed, so congratulations to everyone who took part. The winner of the two debates and therefore through to the final next Thursday are Temple and Dronfield. So your tutors will have the motion for the final for you, so please do come along, those others in the bubbles, and support the teams. And finally, last night I saw a really lovely tweet about the upcoming Christmas concert featuring a performance here in chapel, decorated as you can see behind me with the Christmas trees and lights. And earlier this week I had the great treat of singing for the first time since March. A treat for me, not sure it was a treat for anybody else, but there you go. Again, that was here in chapel with the upper sixth choir recording for the carol service. Now, I'm normally a bit of a Grinch when it comes to decorations going up before the start of Advent, but this year feels a little bit different. And across York, it seems that many people are putting up lights and decorations early. And I suspect it's because after the last few months, everyone's really keen to feel that sense of excitement and festivities to come. We, of course, are no different here at school, and I'm sure I'm not alone in enjoying preparations for Christmas lunches and other end-of-term events. And normally, of course, it's the sixth form only who wear Christmas jumpers in the last week of term. This year, it seems right to say that all of us and all pupils should be allowed to do so. Although bad luck to the upper sixth who tried to persuade me to let them wear their jumpers from the start of December. There must still be something of the Grinch stuck inside me somewhere. Although I have to say, I'm hugely looking forward to taking on the challenge put to me by the heads of school and the monitors to a quiz competition over the next couple of weeks. And one of the central messages of Christmas is peace and goodwill to all people on earth. And one of the many paradoxes of this year is that in one sense we've become more isolated thanks to lockdowns and other restrictions, but in another way we have become ever more connected. Connected in a negative way when you think about the transmission of the coronavirus, but also in positive ways. For example, the cooperation needed to develop a vaccine in months, which normally would have taken about 10 years. And on a very simple level, I was struck a few days ago when I ordered online some sachets of powder for an isotonic drink I can normally only buy in Hong Kong, which is made in Japan. Well, naturally, of course, it arrived from Japan with no English instructions for the proportions of the powder to water. But within seconds, of course, an app on my phone had used the camera facility to translate it into English, and I had my first taste of that drink for well over a year. It just goes to show it's the very simple things that can make you happy, or maybe it's the things that make simple people very happy. I was thinking about peace on earth and goodwill to all when I heard about the Chancellor's decision to cut the amount we give in foreign aid and development to save us several £billion a year. And as Rishi Sunak said, the health emergency is ongoing and the economic emergency is only just beginning. Well, this year, the government will have borrowed almost £175 billion, the most ever, and forecasters are predicting the worst economic crisis coming up for 300 years. The last one apparently was also caused by another natural disaster, a long cold snap that stopped agriculture and the transport of goods. And it does feel wrong morally to be reducing our spending on overseas aid and development at a time like this, but this is of course a time with no easy answers to harsh realities. It reminded me of something a very famous sports manager said a few years ago about the way in which every decision he made was criticised and challenged in the media. But he said that he reminded himself that he made choices based on having all of the information, whereas those criticising him only had access to a limited amount. And in the same vein, on Thursday morning, the Shadow Chancellor was interviewed on Radio 4 and was reminded that it's easier to be in opposition making criticisms, but in the words of the old adage, to govern is to make choices. A Conservative MP has been critical of the decision because he said that it risks other countries who may not be allies of ours being able to step in, support developing countries and thereby exert influence over them. I thought that was a really interesting insight into the purpose of giving aid to developing countries beyond simple, as you might think, ethical and moral imperatives. As a cynic once said, all philanthropy and altruism is ultimately same interest, you just have to look hard enough to see it. The German philosopher Immanuel Kant, as many of you will know, said that the highest good, or as he called it, the summum bonum, is when virtue is crowned with happiness, or to put it another way, when doing what is right and not what is easy also brings happiness to all. Well, that's something that may not feel possible for those in positions of leadership this year or perhaps ever, but who I'm sure are focused on what will cause the greatest happiness in the medium to long term, even if it requires sacrifice and compromise in the short term, having said which, I remain deeply troubled by the decision to remove aid. So perhaps we're fortunate that for us the short term includes an unusual second Exeat this weekend and then a fortnight to go with some fun events on the horizon and the holiday ahead. So have a very, very good weekend, and as ever, stay safe, go well, and crack on.